today's video, we are making a meteorite ring with a lab-grown diamond. So let's go inside and I'll tell you more about it. Now the thing is, I've never worked with meteorite before. So this is going to be the first time for me. I ordered the meteorite from overseas. That has arrived yesterday. I've ordered the lab-grown diamond that's coming in from Australia. Hopefully that'll be here in the next couple of days, so then we can get that set. But in the meantime, we'll work on the ring. I've already 3D printed it, and it's time to do the casting thing. So we'll cast it in sterling silver. It's a down fly, shoot fly. Anyway, so we'll cast it, and I'll take you along for the ride. Let's go. We have received our diamond. If I can find it. Oh, there it is. This is a 1.11 carat lab-grown diamond, and we'll be using this stone to go into that ring. So now this is our meteorite donor ring that we'll be cutting up into pieces that'll fit into those little sides there. Got a bit of work ahead of us. Okay, so first thing we need to do, we need to attach this little sprue onto this ring, and that'll go into there. So let's get that attached. We'll warm up a little wax stick or spindle thingy, get a bit of wax, apply it to the ring. And hopefully if we're quick enough, we can get that to stick there. Just apply a little bit more wax. You want to make sure there's no holes or gaps or phones beeping in the background when you're doing this. Because if there's any holes or cavities, the investment powder would go in there and that'll create porosity on your ring. So that's all we need to do. That's attached. I'm happy with that. Now we will attach this ring onto this base. We'll place it like so, and we'll just fill all that with wax again. So warm up our little spindle again, get the wax ready to go. Just warm up the wax, fill in the cavity. Try and keep your ring centered. It actually doesn't matter if the wax spills over ever so slightly, because that'll just create a little larger funnel area for the metal to flow into. Oh, it's nice and centered. Sprue looks secured. So we'll just wait for that to dry and harden, cool down. And then we'll fit our flask. Like so, but let's leave that to dry for a minute. We'll get back to it shortly. Okay. So now that the wax is cured and set, it's time for the flask to go on. All you need to do is just push it down, make sure it's nice and center on the inside. And before we go and fill it up with, we'll start preparing the investment powder. So it's a good idea to just add a little bit of masking tape around the top. So when you fill in the flask with investment slurry, and you have it, and you go to the vacuum tank, it doesn't spill out. So this gives it a nice little border, a little bit of excess height for the investment slurry to bubble essentially and not spill out. Okay, while that's waiting there, let's go and do the investment. So we've pre-measured on this little container, that's how much investment powder we need. But generally you need 100 grams on 30 milliliters of water. So whenever, depending how big your flask is, that's how much investment powder you'll need. So we've just got a tiny little flask, so we don't need a lot. So that's kind of the amount we need. And we're going to add water to it and then start stirring and off to the vacuum chamber. So I eyeball the water, but if you're new to this, don't eyeball it, do the measuring thing. And you stir until you get a nice pancake batter solution. That's too dry, we don't want that. That's Timu. Add a bit more water. Make sure you scrape all the investment powder off the sides and everything. You don't want any dry spots or bumps or lumps in it. This has gone a bit too liquidy, so I'll go and get some more powder. So we'll just add a bit more investment powder. Keep that on the side. And we'll just stir that in. You need a nice thick slurry, but not too thick. Yeah, that's a good consistency. So we'll just stir and make sure it's nice and smooth. Get rid of the spoon. Get the vacuum chamber. Now if you guys are interested in getting one of these, just message me in the comment section and I'll be happy to oblige. Put on the pump. So what's happening now, we're actually removing all the air bubbles from the slurry, because you don't want any air trapped in the investment powder when you're pouring it into the flask, because everywhere there's a bubble that's kind of connected to the ring, that'll essentially become a metal ball, and then you have to try and remove all that and it becomes a pain in the butt. So if you remove all the air, you eliminate all that nastiness after the casting. I think that should do. Turn the pump off, the vacuum to release. There we go. So now we'll just pour it onto our flask. I'll go grab the flask and just pour it in kind of sideways. How do we do this? Just pour it evenly until it gets to just almost to the top. We'll top it off again after we've vacuumed for a second time. Vacuum chamber again, and now you'll actually see why we added the masking tape, because once we start vacuuming, I would say, what would I call it, the force of the bubbles coming up will essentially cause this to spill over. But because we have the masking tape there, we've eliminated that problem. Put on the pump. Thank you. I'm trying to get a close up from this side. See how aggressive it gets. Now all that investment powder or slurry would have spilled over the sides, and we would have lost it and ended up with a major mess. This way it's two birds with one stone. We don't lose investment slurry, and we don't have to clean up a mess afterwards. Win-win, I'd say. Okay, switch off the pump. Thank you. Now with this, I generally need to give it a bit of time, because I don't have a little valve that I can just release the vacuum with. So it's going to be quite tight. There we we go. We'll just give it a final top up, not too much, just enough to cover the metal rim. And then we've made this little McGafter, and all our excess investment we just pour into this thing, and then we kind of make, let me get one, when that's dried up you get this, and it makes out to be a nice nifty little soldering block. So if you want that, message me again in the comments. Zander designed those, so we can make them in-house, we can print them for you, or we could send you the file if you're interested in that. Yeah, cool. So we'll let this rest for say 2 hours, wait for the investment to dry completely, and then we can pop it in the microwave and get it casted. We'll let you join back in then. So this has now been sitting for 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it's time to bake it so we can cast. First thing we'll do, let's move it to the bin, take the masking tape off, clean up all the excess investment so we get a nice smooth surface, because when we place it on the vacuum table we want to make a good seal. Go. We'll place it into our microwave kiln, put it on the lid, and go to the microwave. So we'll cook it for 10 minutes. So what we'll do, we'll bake it for 10 minutes, stop it, and it rests for about 2 minutes. Then we'll bake it for another 10 minutes, stop it, 2 minutes rest, and then we'll bake it for another 10 minutes. After that 10 minutes, it should be ready to cast. And I'll stop the microwave, I'll take the kiln out of the microwave and show you after each 10 minutes section what it looks like and what you should look out for. So let's wait for this 10 minutes to go past, and I'll see you then. So now we've finished the first cycle. Let's take a look. So it doesn't look like much yet, but the wax should have burned out by now. Yes. You see there's no more wax in there. That's burned away. So that's a good sign. So I'll put it in for another 10 minutes. Okay, that was the end of the second cycle. Let's have a quick look. Let's take a look under the hood. Well, there's your problem. Not red yet. See, most of the wax is now, all the wax should be burnt out. There's a little bit black around the inside edge, but we'll get rid of all that now when we do the third cycle. And then when we take it out, it'll be nice and hot. Third and last cycle. After this one we cast. Okay, our third and final cycle. Let's have a look. Nice and warm. We turn it. See all the wax burnt away, and let's go cast. Hot, 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 hot. I'll just open it, get the excess heat out of it, and while that's cooling down ever so slightly, we will start melting the metal. Vacuum base ready. So I'm just using offcuts of silver. It's half new silver, half old silver. You don't want the silver to be, or your flame to be too hot or too sharp, because otherwise you end up cooking the silver and you end up with peroxide. We have our flask. Put the pump on. Okay, that's good suction. Let's get this ready to fall. Try and aim directly for the hole. Good. That's it. Now it's just fingers crossed that that's poured properly. I'll just let that cool down for a bit. I think you can turn the pump off. It looks like it's all solidified. Yeah. I want to let it cool down for a bit first before we quench. Over the side. You don't want to quench it, well, I just thought very hot. Just lie it on the side so it can cool down a bit. Okay, so it should be cool enough now to quench. You can see the button is nice and dark. So let's go for it. It's looking good. It's looking very good. So there we have it. Silver ring, all casted. So we'll drop this in the acid, let it soak for a bit, and then come back, clean up, and then we'll start inlaying the meteorite and set the diamond. So the ring has been sitting in the acid now for a good few hours. And it's time to take it out and have a closer look, see what it looks like. Doesn't look too bad. A bit of investment stuck in there, that's all good. Let's dip it in ultrasonic and have another look at it. It's looking pretty good if you ask me, for a ring that was made in the microwave. Cool, go to the bench, start cleaning up. So I'll start by cutting the sprue. Now I've decided it's best I try and do the meteorite inlay now before I move forward, because this is going to be pretty tricky. I've never worked with meteorite before, but I had this inspirational idea last night. It came to me in a dream. I'm going to use this spare wax print that I have, and I'm going to cut this section out and then glue it onto the meteorite ring. That should give me the general shape of that, because you can see it curves ever so slightly to the left, or to the right, and this one curves to the right as well. So in the center it's not really a straight band. So I think that's going to be the best bet. We'll cut this section out, glue it onto the meteorite ring, and then start cutting. Let's give that a go. So the first thing I do is take the wax ring or the printed ring and cut that section that I need away. And the first thing I'll do is chop off the collet. That'll do. Chop this, but we don't need that. Break. There. Just chop that there. Kind of chop it there. That, and then our first piece, I'll chop this one, and our second one. Okay, we don't need extra bits. Just get some cheap super glue. I hope there's still some in there. Choose a pattern that I like, and so we still have some glue in there. Wouldn't you know it? It's empty. Well, I need to run across the road and get some more glue. Just give me a minute, I'll be back shortly. Alrighty, I'm back. Got some glue. Okay. So I'll just apply some glue. I'll just hold it down for a brief minute. Make sure it glues down properly. Might end up with a bit of a gap on this side, but that's not too much of an issue. I'll just let that sit and dry for a bit, and I'll start cutting it. I'm actually going to use the finger glue cut on this line. So hopefully I'll end up with a piece that will fit into this little section. Cool. Let's words are hard. Okay, so let's allow that to sit for a bit, dry it properly, and then we'll get back into it. Now I just had to jump in here for a quick second because I just realized while I'm editing the video that the bit where I cut the the meteorite out didn't record. So I don't have any footage of that. I don't have any sound of it because I used the same sound and video process. I don't have it separate. So unfortunately, I don't have the footage of where I'm actually cutting out the meteorite. So the next bit, or the next clip that you'll see, is where the meteorite is already cut out, and I'm about to just glue them into those little slots. Now I've got to tell you just a little bit about the meteorite. Meteorite is essentially iron, right? So if you've ever cut any raw iron, that's basically what it felt like. And you can file it and you can polish it. I did notice that the grit pattern of the meteorite kind of disappears when you're filing and polishing it, but the way I got it back on the pattern back into it was just by leaving it in the acid for a little while. I didn't even take a picture of that. Silly me. This is a professional establishment, I promise. But anyway, so it kind of turns to like a little bit of rust in the acid, and then those grit patterns reappears. So I'll make another video down the line because I've still got the bit, half a section of the donor ring left over. So I will use that. Perhaps I'll make it into a pair of earrings or something stupid like that. But be sure to click subscribe and follow along and do all this and do all that lovely stuff, because I will definitely be posting a video in the near future about working with the meteorite on its own. Okay, cool, back to the video. Cheers. I've recently found a new, I want to call it a new brand of mixing glue. It supposedly hardens quicker, and it dries super clear and is extremely strong. And all I'm doing right now is just to mix the glue and actually place it into the cavity of the ring, and then I'll add the meteorite to that. And I don't think I've actually got a video of it, but once I've actually placed the meteorite, and you can see the meteorite lying there on just off to the side, I clamped it and I let it sit for about, I think it was a full 24 hours. I had it clamped just to make sure it actually it cured properly, because I would hate for those meteorite bits to fall out once the customer has received it. Okay, back to the video. I'm just going to glue this one, and I'll glue the other one, and we'll go to the next clip. Now we are nearing the end of the video. Finally, we're going to the best bit where we're going to actually set the diamond. Now, if you guys have made it this far, you guys are freaking legends. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your support. Drop down in a comment, Meteorite Lab Diamond, so I know you've watched up until this point. And who knows, maybe next year there'll be something in it for you. But yeah, so like I said, we're about to set the stone, and basically what I'll do in the CAD, we've kind of pre-notched the prongs a little bit, so it makes it easier for the stone to set. So I think we're just going to drop it in and then clamp the claws after my head's out of the way. Yeah, so just the prongs, closing the prongs down onto the stone. Now I found this method, I've seen a lot of guys doing different styles on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, but this is still my trusted method of actually setting the stone. You know, you bring the claws in and you kind of just fold it over the stone, and that way it's all secure. We'll know that I'm happy with the tightness of the claws and everything is secure according to me. It's just time to do the cleanup. So I've just used my trusty little Moores disc just to shape most of it. Then I'll go over to my pink little rubber wheel, or brown I suppose, not pink. It's a medium, it's not the coarsest one you can get, it's the medium grade in coarseness. And I'll use that just to give it a bit of shape and facets and tidying it up. Well, that brings us to the end of the video, folks, and I really appreciate, I really appreciate you guys watching. I hope you learned something, or you found it at least a little bit interesting. If you've got any other questions, don't hesitate to drop a comment in the comment section. You know what to do. And if you don't mind, it's not too much trouble, just smash that like button and perhaps consider subscribing to the channel. And yeah, and you'll see me in the next one. Thanks guys. Chunky Jeweler out.